Welcome back, guys, to Let's Talk with Tiff. I'm Tiffanie. I want to thank you for joining me for another episode. I also want to remind you guys to go ahead and please like and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate all of your support. Last episode, guys, I talked about thoughts and feelings, which are so much a part of the human experience. We have a mind, we have thoughts, we have feelings. It's part of how humans function. I touched on how thoughts and feelings really feed right into our emotions. And I want to dive in a little bit deeper into that. I want to dive into how humans, if they're not careful and they have no space from within, we can be ran by our emotions. And most of us are. That's the truth. We are not born with this ability to just have space, right? We never had to go through our experience of becoming conscious, living in truth, understanding that we have self-awareness from within, understanding that we can have awareness outside of ourselves. We're not just, oh, I have it. This is how I function. No. Usually, typically, things go down in a human's life before they wake up to these truths. Do we have it inside of us? Yes, we do. However, pain is a great motivator. And when we fall into pain as humans, we tend to wake up if you get into enough of it. So something will happen in our life where we begin to start asking questions of curiosity. There has to be more than this. There has to be another way. Yes, we have the ability to function and witness our emotions, not live off of all of our thoughts and feelings and narrative from within. However, it's going to happen through self-awareness. It's going to happen through having awareness outside of you. And typically these things come when you have faced traumatic events in your life, a buildup of a lot of pain. You've endured a lot of pain. Maybe you have faced death. You faced a situation in your life where you were faced with life and death. That will wake you up to truth. Typically, we have to have something that will wake us up from within. If we're not careful, we can spend an entire lifetime being ran on our emotions. That's a truth. Here's what I want to get into today. We know that our thoughts and feelings feed our emotions, but I want to touch on the fact that through consciousness and truth, you will begin to understand that there is no right and wrong. There is no good or bad. There's only truth. The mind will give meaning to your entire life. It will give meaning to your thoughts. It will give meaning to your feelings. It will create meaning around what happens to you, not for you, but to you. You're the victim. And it will play an entire narrative inside of your mind that will feed right into whether or not something is good or bad, right or wrong, give meaning. And if you have no space from within, this is going to come out in your emotions. Typically humans, like I said before, we have spirits. So naturally we are going to be sensitive beings. Being sensitive is not a bad thing. It can become a hard thing and difficult for a human if you're constantly processing your emotions through your mind with no space. One thing I know is emotional humans, if you do it enough, you will develop emotional dysregulation, okay? At high levels of constant emotions that flood you from within, inside of your mind, you constantly go back here, you can develop something called emotional dysregulation, where you just can't stabilize. You just can't seem to find your balance from within. And so your mood, don't be surprised, you'll see this, can constantly shift and cycle hour by hour, okay? It happens that rapidly. Rapid emotional shifting can take place within when you start to open up the door to emotional dysregulation. And when you do that, it's really hard to understand even who you are from within, because you just can't seem to settle into you. Emotional dysregulation at high levels of processing your emotions from within your mind will lead to exactly what I'm describing. Understand that because we have consciousness, we are consciousness because God lives inside of us. We can get to a place where we can process our emotions, not good, not bad, not right, not wrong, but without judgment, no opinion. It is just the truth. The meaning of it is the truth. And so I want to jump into a few things about the mind now. But because we have a mind, emotions with no space from within will lead to suffering. This is not maybe, you guys. This isn't a question. This isn't, will it happen to me? This isn't like a thought. Don't wonder about this. This is for sure. If you have a mind, which you do, and you process your emotions there with no space, you are guaranteed to be led to suffering from within. In recovery, we have a joke and we will call our mind when it just doesn't let up, right? It's loud. Our head is loud. We call it K-fuck radio. And sometimes that can happen. The mind just will lead you down a rabbit hole of constant thought, constant feeling, constant emotion, and you can't really find your place and settle from within. And this is the beginning of suffering. We're not meant to live in our head. We are meant for so much more than that. We're meant to witness our emotions. Don't identify with them. They are not you. You are not your emotions. They are emotions that run through you. You have the ability to witness that, and I'm going to get into that. Keep that in mind. If you live and are ran by your emotions, don't be surprised if you have a life filled with suffering. So the more you default to your mind to process your emotions, the more conditioned you will become when life throws stimulation at you. So I want to break that down a little bit because I've kind of mentioned this before, but your life is the stimulation. Whatever's going on in it, pick an area. I'm sure you've got one right now going on. Your life is the stimulation. Now your reaction to what's happening in your life, that's the unconscious conditioning piece. Without space from within, you become stimulated constantly because you are alive and the unconscious is coming for you. And that's natural. That's part of it. Every time something goes down in your life, we get our about 3 seconds of grace. Are we going to react or respond? Do you have space from within to even know that? So if you're constantly running on autopilot, there goes your life. Here's your stimulation. Now enters the unconscious conditioning piece. If you're constantly living to react, and your emotions are flooding you, they are running your life, you will get swallowed up. That's part of being ran by your emotions with no space. Believe it or not, in the background of all of that, that's just what we can see with the human eye. In the background of everything I'm describing, you are being unconsciously conditioned to constantly react through every single stimulation that floods through your life. Maybe sometimes you even ask yourself out there, God, why do I always react like this? Like, why am I blah, blah, blah? Why can't I just be calm? Sometimes you will start asking yourself these questions. And that's a good sign because you're actually recognizing that you don't want to be swallowed up by your emotions. You don't want to be the drama queen. You don't want to be reactive where everybody's like, something's wrong with her or something's wrong with him. They just can't seem to process their emotions. Well, part of it is that we are conditioned unconsciously to constantly react. That's your default. That's what you get. That's what you get back. I want to help you guys recognize how important it is to have awareness. This goes back to awareness. It goes back to having self-awareness from within, recognizing your environment, and bringing God into it, because you will not get far in any of emotional regulation, right? To function from within, our best chance, unless you bring your creator into your life. There's no regulation really without God, because we're running on our default of the mind. I don't know if you guys don't realize this, but you're not going to find God in your mind. He doesn't go there. God is here. He's in our spirit. You have to bring him in, invite him inside, invite him into your life. That's the surrender piece. Do you see how everything will always circle back to God? We know life is hard. Yes, we know this. However, I want to bring a little light to this. Because life is hard, but life actually isn't where humans become challenged. It's not there. It's how your mind gives meaning to your life. I'm going to say it again. How your mind, if you run on the default, gives meaning to your life, your stimulation in your life. Here's where your emotions will flood you, because the mind loves to give meaning to everything. Everything means something in the mind, and not good either. The mind does not have a positive solution necessarily. Everything from the mind will break down into negative chaos. Okay, find meaning, pick this apart. They said that, I should have done this. Why is this happening to me? You will find everything wrong in the mind. So it's not life necessarily that is hard. We know life is hard, but that's where the stimulation comes through. It's inside your mind. If you run on the default, that will give meaning to your life, and it will come out in the form of your emotions. So that's where it's actually hard. That's where we become challenged. Being human with a mind is what makes everything hard, you guys. We have mind, yes. It has intention though there, which I talked about on the last video. Go watch it, thoughts and feelings. And you can understand here that being human with a mind is what makes it difficult. We have to know that we have the ability from within to witness our mind. And so if you live by the mind, you will suffer by the mind. That's the truth. Take that one in. If you live by the mind, you will suffer by the mind. I want to talk about environment too, because this is important. I don't know if you guys realize this, but we have two environments. We have an internal environment. Depending on where you go, you have an internal environment, or you have an internal environment through mind, through spirit. And we also have our external environment, okay? And that's on the surface. And I'm going to give you a bit of an example related to my own life. When I grew up in our household as a child, the external environment that I grew up in was chaos. It was chaotic. It was toxic. It wasn't always safe. We had a lot of emotional dysregulation in our home, and there was a lot of fighting. I mean, I'm not going to say all of it was. We had some good memories too, but for the most part in our home, our external environment, it wasn't always positive. It wasn't always good. It was scary. And so we have two environments. Now, how you process these two environments is either going to be done through your mind or through your spirit. If you process everything through your mind, it will lead to suffering. If you go to God to help you process your life and surrender to His will for your life, this is where you enter a path of a beautiful life. It's not going to be easy. God doesn't do easy, you guys. God does what is hard. God does hard. But we have a chance with God to have a beautiful life, to be developed, to grow, to become who He made us, right? To be from within our spirit. Depending on where you go in your internal environment, like, it's really going to reflect too outside of you. We can tell when people are emotionally intelligent. We can tell when people have emotional maturity. When people shut down, run away, walk away, won't talk, won't communicate, they're right, you're wrong, and they're not willing to even have a conversation, and they're led by their emotions. That's a human being that is not emotionally mature. They don't carry a lot of emotional intelligence from within. They're ran by their emotions, but they don't have emotional intelligence. Unfortunately, if you have no space from within, some consciousness to distinguish you, the real you, from the mind you don't be surprised if you end up suffering. Like, that's going to be the outcome of that. And so I hope that you can realize today that you have two environments, and your external environment, whatever you're in outside inside of yourself, right, where the body is at and living and doing, is going to absolutely stimulate and feed your internal environment. Now, if you don't have space to distinguish where you want to process it, because we get a choice, be empowered by that choice, you will suffer, and it's going to default to your mind. And don't be surprised if you lack emotional maturity. You don't have the capacity from within to talk about things, to walk through things. If you are grown, an adult out there, and you don't have the capacity from within to effectively talk about things, hard things, and you just are led and completely ran by your emotions, something's wrong. Something's terribly wrong. That's not healthy. So it's time to look at yourself. You don't want to die like this. I've seen it happen. These types of behaviors where people are ran by their emotions and then they live an entire lifetime and they have to leave the body and go to the other side in order to understand consciousness and truth. That's learning the hard way. You have the ability to do it right here, right now, on earth. You have to wake up for it though. Sometimes we got to get into some pain, trauma that we're going to face depending on whatever we go through, and there's tons of that. That's life. How you process this pain and trauma, where you process it, is absolutely going to affect you in how you operate from within, and it's going to come out in how you are ran through your emotions. That's how it's done. Emotions, you guys, they can feel so real. Be able to distinguish that emotions are visitors. When they show up, they're visiting you. Have enough awareness, self-awareness from within to witness an emotion run through you. It's not going to stay forever. We don't have to stay angry forever. You can, that is true, if you live by your mind. You don't have to remain in sadness forever. These are big ones because we see it a lot. Humans can be very angry and very sad. Freud used to say that anger is depression flipped inside out. That's pretty intuitive. They're closely related, believe it or not, anger and sadness, because if you can get an angry person to actually start talking in the truth and they start putting the anger down for a minute to communicate their feelings, what you will find is that this person is hurting inside, and it may lead to what makes them sad, what broke them. We are not just angry. Angry is one of the easiest solutions of the mind because it feels justified and it feels like it did something. You don't want to get stuck in anger because you can spend a whole lifetime there. And if you do that and you have to go to the other side to understand the truth, that's the hard way. So understand, you guys, that you can do it here on earth, in your body, right here, right now, with God, in this moment. You can do it today. Don't have to wait till tomorrow. Consciousness is now. All you have to do is start talking to God, get in truth, and prioritize Him. Show up, prioritize Him, let Him in, surrender, and start taking His direction. He will lead the way. God is alive and God is very well. When you come to Him and you surrender and you open your heart and you ask Him and you're like, I just can't do this. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, or I need help, God. You're in enough pain, you're in enough trauma, or maybe you're just like looking for a new way to live because we want to be better. When you can go to God and do those things and you bring your heart and you mean it, He's coming. He's showing up for you. So pay attention, start paying attention, show up for Him, get honest, go to prayer, prioritize Him, and He'll lead the way. He'll do the rest of it. That's what I know. That's my experience with God. I'd be willing to put it out there for you too, because I believe in God. I know God. There's nothing special about me. You can have everything that I have, and you just have to be willing to do work. It comes down to doing work. Like I said in the last video, the human condition, it doesn't want to be inconvenienced. It wants easy. It wants to be very convenient. Doing work, hard work, isn't convenient for anyone. Like, it actually requires thinking, intentional thought, intentional time production. Like, what are you doing with your time? How do you focus? How do you spend your days? What do you do? Like, these things start to really matter in consciousness. You really learn the value of you and what you engage in, or you're like, no thank you, because you know where it could lead you, and you work really hard on your internal self. And so engagement into things outside of you, which is everywhere, through everything, people, places, and things, interference, you start to realize in consciousness that that's not for me. I don't want to go there, because I work really hard with God to have my space with him, to have peace from within and face truth. And if you start engaging in all the things of this world, you can easily lose it in a hot second. And then you gotta come back, do the work. It doesn't mean it's over, but you have to work your way back. And honestly, like, I guard my consciousness today and my heart and my truth from within and my healing with God, because I've worked so hard to get here with him that it's not worth it for me. I am very careful who I talk to, where I go, what I engage in, what is a distraction for me. These things matter today. And it's not because like I don't want to participate in anything. No, it's because I love myself today, and I've done a lot of work on myself from within. God took the time to help me, and I don't take that for granted, you guys. If God took the time to help me, who am I to go back? Sometimes God will induce regression on me so we can revisit parts of myself, but that's different. He goes with me, and that's God-induced regression. When I go back and engage in things and old behavior and things that are not of God, not on from up above, that comes at a price. I will pay a price. And I also feel that doesn't align with my love for God today. I love God so much. I want to do right. I want to do right by God. And I want to have people, places, and things around me that God is pleased with, because I love him. And that's the bottom line for me. Couple pointers to wrap it up. Our emotions, they can run our entire life if we are not careful. Okay, you will, it's not maybe, you will become swallowed up by your emotions. And when you get swallowed up, watch out for that conditioning factor, because it's happening in the background, and every single time it'll run on autopilot. Remember, your emotions, they are visitors. Just like our thoughts and feelings, they are not here to stay. They are visitors. Treat them like that and take it to God. He'll help you. You are not your emotions. Your emotions are your emotions. And you are and have the ability from within, inside your spirit with God, to witness every last emotion that comes through you. You are the space from within that witnesses the emotion that typically is fed by the thought and the feeling from within. But you are the space, you have the ability to witness your emotions. Remember what I'm saying, because next time life comes, the stimulation, it's already on its way. It's gonna come, it's gonna show up, and you will have a choice on where you wanna go to process your emotions. If you take it to the mind, every single time you will get swallowed up. That's a guarantee. I say pause, pray when an emotion shows up, take it to God, and then wait. Don't do anything. You want to get out of the mind? Do what I just said, because the mind's going to go running with it. The spirit, pause, recognize the emotion, pray, ask God to help you, okay? And he will take you the rest of the way. And don't do anything. Don't speak on it. Don't call the friend. Don't call your mom. Don't get on social media. Like, do not do anything. Just take it to God, pause, pray, and wait. Don't be surprised if God gets in there, because you've surrendered, and he changes your feeling, right? Because he has the ability to do that from within. God will redirect you into clarity and honest and true perception from here in the spirit. That's what he does. He's very good at it. Excellent. That's what I have for you guys today. Thank you so much. I always enjoy coming on, hopefully helping you guys to understand a little bit better what the mind is doing, and that you have a choice. You know, you don't have to live by there. I really do think that tying thoughts and feelings, go back and watch the last episode, and now, you know, circling it all the way over here, coming full circle into our emotions and really getting this piece. It's really important for your growth your spiritual growth, your emotional growth, so we can function in this lifetime. So thank you guys so much. If you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate all of your support. So thank you so much, guys, and I'll be back.